Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the vlog. Thank you for being here today. I am sorry about my hair, and my face isn't bad, but my hair. And the camera quality is kind of poor, but we're rolling with what we have today because I'm trying to work. And
well, the moment you felt you could start over new was the same that you realized the stories were true. You opened your eyes and the world you could see wasn't dim, it was brighter. You'd have to agree. Oh, now your fears are gone. They were buried with the dawn. And oh, now you feel alive for the very first time. Oh, now your fears are gone. They were buried with the dawn. And oh, now you feel alive for the first time. You're not home yet. Not home yet. No, you're not home yet. No, not home. But you finally found the way.
which, as a side note, I saw this video the other day that was like, don't explain why you're doing something to apologize. That's just an excuse. Just apologize. Otherwise, it negates the apology. And since one is giving an explanation as to hey, I know that I messed up. This is why I messed up. So you know for the future, this is what happened. But I am sorry. I'm not apologizing. I'm just explaining it to you so that you can understand for the future. This is why she did what she did, and that doesn't make it any better. You don't have to be any less upset. I'm just giving you an explanation because I feel it's only right for you to be informed. And when did an explanation become an excuse? I'm really confused when that happened because I've never heard of that before. And in all my professional experiences and with any professional courtesy, I want the explanation. Because if I have the explanation, maybe there's a reason that you didn't do something. For example, I couldn't answer this phone call because I am in labor, right? I probably knew you were pregnant. That's probably something you shared with me because if you're 9 months pregnant, that's probably something I'm going to share, especially with clients or people that you're working with or whatever. So, okay, you're in labor. Great. I also now know to leave you alone for 3 days because you just had a baby. And if I have a question, I can in my response be oh, okay, thank you for letting me know. This is what I need to know, before we don't talk again for a little while because this is what I need right now. And I'll try to, let you have your time until you're ready to come back. Just let me know when that is, right? I need that explanation in order to inform my next step. Sorry, I got cut off, but I'm going to be talking today about how I became a wedding planner because it's honestly kind of easy. So we're going to talk about this, but I bring up this topic of conversation because I do want your guys' opinion on it. Please chime in and let me know. Is it professional to give an explanation? I'll give a personal example before I jump into this, but I had a client that didn't get back to me. They had a week to fill out their contract. They hadn't gotten back to me yet, and then they explained, I'm so sorry that we haven't gotten to this yet. It's the day before the contract is due. We plan on signing it tonight. We've just been on vacation with family, so we weren't able to answer any questions or do anything like that, but we're looking over it tonight. I really appreciated that explanation because it allowed me to know, okay, you're on vacation, so if your response times are slower, I know why. And it's something that they communicated to me, so I was able to work with them. However, normally I have a very hard deadline. So if they hadn't explained to me, they would have met their hard deadline, and they would have forfeited their contract. I would have had to rewrite it. So let's just jump right in with how I started. First, I put something out on Facebook saying, hey, this is what I'm doing, and if you know anybody, please put them in touch with me, and I would be glad to chat with them. Then I created a website for myself, and in that website, it has all my information, general pricing, etc., etc. I also talked about, services that I offer, how my packages work, what my process is, and then any traveling, things like that. Then I reached out to wedding services online. So the Knot and Wedding Wear were the ones that I reached out to. I purchased advertising through them. I made the decision to do this because I was like, even if I get like 1 or 2 full service weddings, it'll more than pay for the advertising, and I'll have the experience. And if I don't, it fits into our budget. I spent a year on it, and I know that this was not something for me to pursue, and I won't be pursuing it next year because it's about a year contract. So that being said, it was really easy. I just created the website for free. I have a website .weebly.com, just like my regular website for my books. And then I created, a Facebook page, and I went into all the Facebook wedding groups for my area. So Minnesota Facebook wedding groups and surrounding areas. I'll travel because that's a boundary that I am okay with having, is traveling. And then I just kind of waited. And I got inquiries here and there. Sometimes I'd get 7 in a week. Sometimes I wouldn't get any for 2 weeks. It just really depended. I don't have any reviews on my page on the Not or Wedding Wire because I was new. So I didn't have anything to put out there. And the weddings I was working on hadn't happened yet. So no one could really talk about my services yet because it was just a couple of friends' weddings. So I just kind of waited. And then every time I talked to somebody, I experimented with how I would talk to them, what my process would be. In the first 6 months, was it 6 months? It was the first 4 months, because it was February to June that I had my first wedding in June on the 12th. So it was exactly 4 months after I signed up for this advertising. After my first wedding was booked and completed, I had gotten plenty of inquiries over time, and I really built how to talk to my clientele, what way was most effective in saving me time and not having to meet with people. For example, when people are like, what are your services? I'm like, well, this is how my package usually works. These are the options that you have, but ultimately it's to build what you want, and then you just get charged for what you're using instead of having a one-size-fits-all package because every wedding's different, blah, 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 blah. And then I always ask, tell me more about your vision for me, my role in your wedding. And then they'll kind of explain what they're hoping for someone else to do. And then that can give me a really good idea of this is how much work it sounds like. So this is the ballpark estimate that I'm going to give you. The more details people have in that first message where they tell me what they're thinking, the better a quote I can give them up front. And then after I usually give them that initial quote, I'll also be like, if this sounds good to you, you want to talk more about it so I can give you a better estimate. Typically, if people aren't interested because of my price or they're going to be flaky or whatever, they stop responding at that point, which weeds out a lot of the potential clients that I wouldn't want to work with anyway, or that might be really hard to schedule a phone call with, etc. So I've learned that takes a lot of time and effort off of my hands, and a lot of people just, when they stop responding, I don't follow up with them simply because most people won't respond even to a follow-up. So I just kind of am like, you know what, I sent the last message, ball's in your court now, and I know that typically stuff doesn't go to spam only because it is through the Not website, so it's that website that's sending it, not me personally, and that site is really good at keeping their stuff out of spam. So I've never had an issue with it, and no one else that I know of has ever had an issue, none of my clients that I've worked with. Anyway, if they decide to do the phone call, then we chat and we can move forward, and I give them this is actually what your price is going to look like once I've heard more details, and then I've also this is what I'm thinking. Please tell me that I'm, on the right track, or if I'm not, or whatever. And then I give them their quote. And the past 5 clients that I've done business with over the phone have then booked me after that call. And those are all the calls that I've had, excepting one that I had prior to those 5 calls. But I had to call her back later. Long backstory on that, but essentially she could get my services for free from a friend, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely do that for you. The only thing with a friend versus a professional is simply that you have a relationship to maintain with them, so if they do something you don't like, you have to be very careful about going about that, because if you want to maintain that friendship, it's a different relationship versus in a professional relationship where it's you did this, I don't like it. Okay, I'll fix it. I know that's not a personal attack. And even if I feel that way, I have to get over it because I'm a professional. And then from there, it's just setting things up on hey, I have this, I had an extra 5% discount one month to promote my Facebook page. So if people saw, my Facebook page and they wanted to book me, they got an extra 5% on top of 10%, whether or not they paid in full. I have a paid in full discount. Otherwise, I have a payment plan. One other big thing that I did when I started working with clients was I created a contract. I just looked at contracts that I had signed for other small businesses for different services. For example, photography services. And I took the contract and I was like, okay, these are the things that they think are important to put into a contract. Some of it is just general stuff. Some of it's specific to photography or them personally. So I took the big general stuff, like what sections do they have? And then like the general sections. And then do I need to add an extra general section? What have you? And then I wrote my wording so it was very specifically for me as a wedding planner rather than a photographer. That's just what works for me. I really enjoyed like making it, and then I kind of like personalize it for each client. That's why it has a 1-week expiration date, because after that week there's a chance that I change it for another client. If I have 2 clients at once, I make a copy and then one is for one of them and the other is like general contract copy. But I changed things, like I always put the contracted dollar amount that we've talked about in my contract. I also put like listed specific services that they have to check each box saying, yes, these are all the services that I'm getting, nothing else. That way it keeps me accountable and they have peace of mind knowing that these are all the things that I want specifically done, and I know she's going to do them because they're in her contract. But it also keeps me covered, because then if they're like, well, I want you to do this too, okay, it's an extra $100. Well, this is the price, and that extra money is not in your contract. Yes, but neither is this service. So if you want it, you have to pay for it, and signed a new contract addendum saying, on top of this contract that I've already signed with you, I extend my services for this, and this is the dollar amount that I'm paying. So, tip, if you're starting your own business, make sure you have a contract. Additionally, I will be filing as an LLC through the state of Minnesota. Currently working on figuring out how to do that with COVID, because normally you just go and fill out the paperwork, write the check, and you're good. It's only like $150 to do it in person, but I think online it's like $130. So I have yet to do that, but I just want to make sure that everything is like good beforehand, and I didn't budget for that in my finances right now. So we're just kind of waiting until next month when I get paid again from clients to use that money to pay for the LLC. I have done pretty well at this, and I have realized one thing this year that I think anyone who's opened a small business in the past 2 years has realized. It's actually really easy to do, especially with like social media and TikTok, and everyone's planning everything online because we have to meet online anyway. So it makes it a lot easier. And especially as a wedding planner, people want someone who's close to where they're going to get married to do the planning for them if they're looking for full service planning, because typically they live in another state. Like right now I'm planning a wedding for someone who lives in a state adjacent to ours, and while they are able to go see the venues, do the tours, all that jazz on their own, I am able to say, well, I know this area and I know what this is like and I know what this service is like. I may have done a wedding there already. If you're going to start a small business though, put in the effort, do the work, whatever you have to do, or pay for the advertising, whichever is best for you, but don't expect to see real results for at least 6 months. Even if you're priced well for your grouping or what have you, it still takes time for both people to commit, for you to find the right first customer, for you to get comfortable in really what you're doing and get the experience you need, and for people to start hearing about you. Now, personally, for my next step, besides creating an LLC, I'm going to be putting an a referral program in place so that I can get more business, because I really enjoy what I do. I would love to be able to cut down some of my hours at my other job if this is going to be, consistent. So my point is there's a lot of flexibility with small businesses. You are the only one doing it, and so you've got to make sure you're very clear on if you're making a product, how long it's going to take. This is my time frame. Make sure that it's everywhere so that when people complain, you can say, hey, it was here when you pressed the box saying I accept all terms and conditions. you accepted that it's going to take me 6 weeks to make this because I'm the only one that does this. I have plenty of other orders, and I have a life on top of it. But that way you can also give yourself some time and a break and know that, nothing's going to fall apart in the meantime. That is how I became, I don't even know what you want to call it, a wedding planner. I just did it, and I think that that's a big deal. And people are like, well, how do you just do it? Because I was definitely there. You decide what you're doing, you make your website, and you find a way to advertise. Whether you can do that exclusively through Facebook, like some people have like thousands and thousands of friends on Facebook. I don't. I have like the 200 to 300 family members and friends that I know. Like, that's all I've got on Facebook. That can't be my biggest platform because I need my business to be outside of that friend group. So I paid for my advertising. And how you pay for your advertising can vary too. I could pay for like radio ads and commercials and things like that. I'm just not there yet. And this is the most low key where people can find me really easily without being like in the car and having to figure it out or whatever. It works best for me. So once you know what you're doing, you have your website, you pay for your advertising, and you've written your contract, you can get started right away. Now, if you have inventory, you do typically, if you sell products, you typically want to have an inventory before you start advertising, simply because if people are like, oh, that's great, and they want to order, but they don't know when your launch is because you haven't started making anything and you don't know how long it's going to take you, unless it's all custom orders, like, you just have to be very careful. So if it's an items-based thing where you need certain amount of things in stock, make sure you have at least some of those items in stock, or know what you're going to have in stock and how long it's going to take you before you start advertising. That way people know exactly when they can order from you and how long that wait's going to be, etc., etc. I want to do a quick recap of some of my goal areas as well at the end of this video here for you guys. So first goal is to get monetized on YouTube. This is again a goal from last year. I am working really hard on it, and honestly I've kind of like relaxed on this one a little bit because as much as I want to get monetized and I think that would be great, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. It's not too much work. I've been able to like stay on top of it and everything, and the fan base that I do have, the subscribers that I have, I love you guys, and you have made it really fun to be here. And like on the video I posted last week, I enjoyed myself, so much. It was actually at the beginning of this week on Monday. I had so many great comments, and I commented on it just thanking everyone, and it was so nice. It was a really good time. So honestly, I'm trying to focus more on like the content my subscribers want and what I have going on, and trying to get better at like vlogging in general, which is one of my other goals, is to amp up my YouTube videos. That's goal number 9. And I think I'm doing pretty good at it. I don't know, comment down below what you think. So we're going to go to goal number 2, was to have a successful birth center birth. Did it, done, yay. Number 3 is to start and maintain a workout and food regimen. One thing that I have been doing lately, I showed you a little while back like what I was doing for exercise shortly after Gabriel was born, etc., etc. I currently have Gymmondo, but I have not used it. We do go on daily walks because the boys really enjoy daily walks and everything like that, and it's good to get outside and get fresh air, but that's currently really all the time that I have for exercising like at the moment, just because the past month was absolutely chaotic. Number 4, finish one of my novels. I really haven't made much progress on this. I've been working really hard on like my YouTube and work and all that kind of stuff, so I really haven't taken the time to do this. It's also really hard for me to focus when my son is like doing things and there's other people and there's a lot going on. So I just haven't really worked on this one, but I do intend to really get into it in the winter time when there's like we can't go outside or whatever. Number 5, monthly craft and wine night. Going really well. Didn't do one in July on purpose, but we're doing 2 in August. We already had our first one on the 13th, and then we're going to have our second one on like the 26th or 27th, something like that. All right, number 6 is to write and record 5 songs. I've kind of like felt this, talked about it, thought about it, haven't really gotten anywhere. I have like an idea for one song, but like that's it. So That's all the farther that I am on that goal. Goal number 7 is to be debt free. We are so freaking close. There was one little wrench thrown into our plans this month. However, it's definitely on track to happen probably ahead of time. We only have 1 or 2 things left to pay, so that's really great. Number 8, buy a new car. We did that in February. Number 10, I'm skipping 9 because we already talked about it. Number 10 is to renew the 2022 lease, or the lease for 2022. Still on track to do that. I don't foresee us like finding the house that we want and have to move into like before. Traveling again is in the works. We do have our plan for our Florida trip in November, so I'm very excited about that. I would love to do a couple of days in like South Dakota or Wisconsin or something and go to a hotel. That would be really nice just because it's close and it's small. It'll be like a long weekend, but I don't think that'll happen. Number 12 is to find my passion, and I've really been working on this. I'm really getting into like the groove, like on the work side of like a little bit of balance. After last month and everything being crazy, I feel like I'm much more organized this month. I got myself a planner to kind of balance things. I've been working on the things that I like. My husband's really stepped in and been like super helpful, so that's been awesome. Number 13, building my spiritual relationship. We had like, didn't go to church for like 3 weeks, and it was like a really big deal. But like things kept happening. Like 1 week I slept in, 1 week Gregory was like sick, and 1 week my roommate had her baby. So like things happen. Number 14, budget and give freely. We have been doing so awesome on this, I think. Our budget has been going really well, aside from like putting things on our credit card, like going out to eat a lot. That's really where our one like issue is. We'll go out to eat and then like put it on the credit card, and then we're like, okay, now we have like extra money to have to like pay for this. But we've been doing really well. We sit down every week, talk about our budget. It's really great. And then giving freely, we've been trying to, help out friends and family as they need it, get things for people, whatever it is, just to try and help, and giving what we can and want, are able to do. Finally, number 15 is worry less. There are times where I really think that I had like some baby blues, postpartum depression kind of thing, like last month. I don't know if it was just because I was busy or like what, but sometimes I really have like mood swings that are like family related. But I feel like I'm at the upswing out of that now, and hopefully getting to a healthier place just in being more organized and things like that, so that when I have things I can communicate them better to my husband. I still am struggling with sleep right now because I threw my sleep schedule out of whack one night, and now I can't sleep because that's been happening a lot. But anyway, those are just kind of a general update on my goals and an explanation of how I became a wedding planner. How do you guys like the 20-minute videos? If you got to the end of this video, it's definitely right around 20 minutes or more. My last video was also 20 minutes. Is that better? Is that worse? Like on my end, I'm seeing that it's not great. Like it's not better. It's better to be like 10-15 minutes. But let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear from you. Otherwise, follow me on Instagram, and I do polls there a lot, and we post a lot of fun stuff. So don't forget to join me there. I gotta go pump and take a shower, but I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, then hit the bell down below so you can get notifications for when more videos come out. See you next time. Love, Genevieve.